Hi everybody. Apologies first of all for the lateness of this report, but I've been away all day on a bus tour of the East Coast, basically trying to find a place where nobody had heard of Rangers and I didn't have to think about yesterday's game. Because as you know, obviously, yesterday Celtic knocked us out of the cup on penalties. And to say it was robbery is an understatement. Even just the basic facts. I mean, we had 24 shots at goal, 6 on target. They had 1 shot at goal, didn't even go anywhere near the goal, and yet they come away with a win. So let's give them credit. They took the penalties perfectly. I mean, you can't fault them on their penalty taking, whereas us, I mean, even the ones we scored, the 2 we scored, were pretty poor and lucky to go into the net. But as for Captain Heroic stepping up to take the first one, that sets the whole tone of the penalty taking exercise, he, for once, hits it high, hits the bar and over. I don't know when he last hit one that high, right up the middle. So thank you, Captain Heroic, basically ending our cup hopes at that point, because we knew we weren't going to overtake Celtic as soon as that first one went in. And I don't like him. I've never liked him. But in fact, that just adds to his wonderful record of knocking us out the cup. Because last year against Queen's Park, we must have had about 100 shots at goal, and it took 90-something minutes for us to get a penalty. So, okay, brilliant. We can equalise here, go into extra time, and we'll no doubt beat them by 4 or 5. Captain Heroic steps up, misses. So there's 2 vital cup misses in the last 2 seasons that have put us out of the cup. So I don't want to see that guy ever again starting a Rangers game for the rest of this season. Ditto Olsen, another waste of space, did nothing yesterday, didn't try to take a guy on. I mean, he's up against Scales, who's not even a left back, and yet he didn't take him on. The only time somebody went by Scales was Sterling, of all people. He got past him, and Scales had to do a professional foul on him before he got into the box, and he got his yellow card because of that. So if Sterling can get by a guy who's not a left back, surely this £10 million winger should be able to do it, but he doesn't even try. He gets the ball, he looks up, he goes inside, and he passes it 5 yards inside. That's not a winger. Save the money, Rangers. Put it towards trying to get Mikey Moore, who is one of our better guys again, but again, he faded in the second half and wasn't as effective. So, performance-wise, nobody's going to dispute the fact we were the better team the whole game, not this time for 50 minutes, 120 minutes. Oh, wait a minute, there was a 5-minute spell before Celtic's disallowed goal in the first half when they actually played in our half for the first time in the whole game. So they had a good 5-minute spell then. But apart from that, we dominated possession. We dominated the attacking pressure the whole game, the whole 120 minutes, and just couldn't get a goal. Chimiti had 2 or 3 misses that he should have scored with. Although, again, give Celtic credit, they were diving in, especially Trusty. They were diving in, sliding in, blocking shots, tackling at the last minute before somebody like Chimiti got his shot off. So give the Celtic defence credit. They were defending like a wee Diddy team. They were throwing themselves at everything. They were determined not to let us score. So you got to give them credit for that. They did well defensively. They were nothing in attack. So that was it down to us, maybe, that we didn't score as well. We were too slow in making up our mind to take a shot, or the final pass wasn't good. And certainly most of the crosses were pathetic. I mean, easy meat for the Celtic defenders to head away. So we did our part, but Celtic defended well. They didn't attack well. It wasn't a great game. We were the better of the 2 poor teams on the day. We can play a lot better. They can play certainly a lot better. Well, you would hope so if you were a Celtic fan, because they must be going away thinking, how did we win that? Well, they won it because we had 2 idiots that couldn't take a penalty kick. So all that was very disappointing. I was sickened enough after the 2-each draw last week because we thought we'd win that game. Yesterday was even worse because, as I say, we dominated and we deserved to win, but you don't get what you deserve many times in football games. As Jimmy Greaves once said, it's a funny old game, and that summed it up yesterday. The fact that the team that was so dominant just couldn't get the goal. They couldn't score either, and it came down to penalty kicks. And I never put money on any Rangers player scoring with a penalty. So very, very sickening at the end. So on to the league. I don't see us clawing back the 6 point lead Hearts have. I don't even see us getting above Celtic, although that would be some consolation if we managed to be second in the league over the next, 6 weeks or so. But I really can't see it. This team just lacks so much in mentality. Although, to give them their due, yesterday they did get stuck in better. They were more energetic, more determined, more verve about them. And it seemed as if that's what we wanted to see, but they just didn't have the skill to score a goal. So you've got to combine both skill and the mentality, and we've either not got one or the other in certain games. So it's very disheartening. So anyhow, we need to look to the league. If we don't win it St Mirren next, I think it's Sunday, we can forget that as well. It really will be all over. So we've got to bring out a good performance. They'll have had a week's rest and hopefully coaching, so maybe they can do that at least to start off a run going towards the end of the league in the split. Just a final thought. Yesterday, apart from the players that I said were hopeless, I thought Romans was good. I don't know why he was taken off. Suter, he didn't deserve to be in the starting lineup, so that was okay. He comes on for the second half of extra time, and he had a nightmare. I was going to say a nightmare of a game, a nightmare of a 15-minute spell where 3 or 4 balls up the middle, he lets them drop, he lets them bounce, he jumps up and misses it, and Celtic get possession deep in our half. Actually, ridiculous stuff he was doing. And there was one after all that where he was 40 yards from our goal, I would say, and nobody behind him. He turns around, he tries to pass it back to Butland and makes a mess of it. He sclaffs it. It goes halfway between where he is and where Butland is, and the Celtic guy is running onto it. Thankfully, Butland came rushing out and just booted it up the park. So that could have been the winner there and then, thanks to Suter. So I don't want to see him playing in games for the rest of the season. Bring him on as a sub or whatever. Big Sheik actually did quite well in the game. And so did Fernandez. So I would go with them for the rest of the season. Don't play Tavernier. Play Romans every game when you can. The rest of them, you've got to stick with Chimite. I would say maybe bring Miovski on occasionally to partner big Nadiri. But there's not much else you can do. Gassama's rubbish as well. So you've got, 4 wingers in the club. 2 of them are playing badly. Well, one has never shown us anything, but 2 of them are playing badly. Matondo's the one out in the cold, and the other one's injured, Ant-Man. So we've only got Mikey Moore, who doesn't really play as a winger. So it's not looking good from that point of view. So where we're going to get the goals from, or not so much where we'll get them from, who's going to create them, that's going to be the problem. So I'm not holding out high hopes for the next few weeks anyhow. So put it behind us, forget all about it. Hope we can do something in the league, but it's a really all-round bad weekend for us, same as last weekend, and hopefully not the coming weekend. Maybe I'll go on another bus tour next week to avoid having to think about whatever happens at Love Street on Sunday.